Hey guys, I'm Edna Marie, and I'm going to share with you how I lost 35 pounds in 5 months. Full disclosure here, I am not a scientist, I am not a doctor, but I am a health enthusiast who's seen it all and done it all when it comes to weight management and metabolic health. So now that we've got that out the way, let's get into it. Throughout my late teens and beyond, I would struggle with losing weight. I would lose some weight and then I would gain it back every time. I felt like I had a bottomless pit for fast food and junk food, like I was never quite satisfied. I could be full for a little bit after eating, and then I could easily eat something else or have a big dessert soon after. I would share my meals and my workouts on social media, and it really helped me a lot to stay accountable. But I never felt like I was sustained. I didn't feel like what I was doing, I could do it forever. And I felt like there was always an end to a goal that I would accomplish. Like when I did Insanity and I was working really hard to get the t-shirt, right? I did that, got the t-shirt, and then after I was kind of like, oh, thank God that's over with. It just wasn't sustainable. It wasn't something that I knew that I would forever be able to do and not feel like I'm deprived, and I would keep my results. I was constantly hungry. I was doing all the things that I thought I was supposed to do with the standard American diet. I was eating 6 meals a day at one point. I did Weight Watchers at one point. I did HCG. I mean, I did it all. And if there was any kind of results, it was short-lived. I just was miserable, and I didn't think that was the way I was supposed to live, or that wasn't the way I wanted to live. I knew there was something else better out there for me. I learned about intermittent fasting, keto, and low carb in 2016. When I learned that I can burn fat, boost growth hormone, and lower my insulin levels, I wanted to know everything about it. I wanted to know everything, and I was out on a mission to research and read everything I could find. Big shout out to Kayla Cupcake. She was one of the YouTubers that I watched back in 2016, and I learned a lot from her journey. I also read The Obesity Code by Jason Fung. That's a great book where you can learn a lot. He is a big advocate for intermittent fasting. I learned a lot from Dr. Eric Berg, Dr. Westman, Robert Lustig. The list goes on and on. So, you know, if you want to learn more about the science part of intermittent fasting, you should check them out. So that summer, I started keto and I started doing the intermittent fasting 16-8 method, meaning I fast for 16 hours and I have an 8-hour eating window. I did that for 2 weeks, and then I moved on to do the 24 method. So that's 20 hours of fasting and 4-hour eating window. And that was going good. It was really a sweet spot for me. I did that for about a year, I think, and then I went full OMAD. And I don't recall if I said it or not, but OMAD means 1 meal a day. With 1 meal a day, I do the traditional way, which is you fast for 23 hours and then you have 1 hour to eat your food. During your fasting time, you could have coffee, tea, water, electrolyte water, anything that doesn't have calories in it. So some challenges I faced. I had to really pay attention to mindless snacking when I was at work. I worked at an elementary school, and we would have snacks. We would have school parties and things like that. Our parents would bring you stuff, and you just, constantly popping something in your mouth. That was just part of what you did. And, I really had to pay attention to that. So that was one of my biggest challenges at first. Another challenge that I faced was people's opinions of what I was doing. In the beginning, I was so excited. I was starting to see results, and someone would ask me, some kind of way would come up, right? I'd be somewhere, someone would say, hey, let's go grab something to eat, or let's go do this or that. But it wasn't in my eating window. And I could have moved it if I wanted to, but sometimes I just didn't want to. I want to stick to the plan of my day, unless I made plans and I knew it was coming ahead of time. Anyway, when I would share what I was doing, sometimes it wasn't met with open arms, and people always have an opinion sometimes, and sometimes it's just not welcomed, but it is what it is. That's just life. And sometimes you have to use your discernment and just think to yourself whether you want to tell everybody right away. I wouldn't. Looking back, I probably wouldn't have. Now, if it comes up, it comes up, you know. But at this point, I'm so much stronger in my decision of what I'm doing that it doesn't affect me as much as it would have earlier. You know, especially if you haven't done your research and people saying, oh, you're starving yourself, or saying idiotic stuff like that. You're going to hear things like that if you tell a lot of people what you're doing. And I think that the best thing for you to do is keep it to yourself. You know, it's not something that's so noticeable or flashy to where you have to tell people what you're doing. You know, it is definitely a personal decision. And I can't say enough about it, but everybody isn't the same. So just like you respect their wishes, they should respect yours. And the best way to even avoid that is just keep it to yourself. My first signs of physical change that I saw was, first of all, I had done a face-to-face. So I took a picture when I first started. And then 2 weeks later, I took another picture. I put them side by side. And I was blown away at how much my face had changed in just those 2 weeks. My face was more bright. My jawline was more defined. My neck was elongated more. And it was almost as if somebody just took like a magic eraser or something and kind of, you know, cleaned up my picture a little bit. That was the first thing that I noticed. The second thing I noticed was my niece. She made a comment to me about a shirt I was wearing. She goes, TT, I love your dress. And I said, it's not a dress, baby. It's a shirt. Now, mind you, I was kind of wondering what she meant by that. And so I went and looked in the mirror, and that t-shirt was literally down to my mid-thigh. And it did look like a dress. Another benefit is your mental clarity and your focus. Mine changed dramatically. I could get up in the morning and be focused on what I needed to get done and what I needed to accomplish without any problems. If I got distracted, I could easily go back to what I was doing before. No more afternoon brain fog, like running up the stairs to go grab something or do something and forgetting what you needed to do when you got there. I mean, I can remember what I need to do, you need to do, and what I need to do tomorrow. Contrary to what I expected, my energy levels went through the roof. I mean, I could go grocery shopping and come home and cook the same day. That's something I used to hate to do because I would be so wiped out. I would feel more productive and I would be able to get more things done on my to-do list. Fatigue became a thing of the past, and I started waking up fresh and ready to go. And y'all, one of the biggest accomplishments I had happened the beginning of this year. I stopped taking blood pressure medication. Ever since I was 25 years old when I was diagnosed, I was told that I would never be able to get off a blood pressure medication by a doctor, who told my mom the same thing, who told my maternal grandmother the same thing. So I always thought that I would never be able to get off. But I can't even speak. This moment, I am just reflecting on everything I had been through over the years regarding my blood pressure, going to doctor's offices and having that anxiety about having to have them take my blood pressure, and it's always going to be high. Trying every remedy, everything that I found in the book that would help relieve me of my blood pressure so I could see what was considered normal numbers. Taking multiple medications that I had to be careful about taking. Like if I'm in the sun for too long, I would feel dizzy, or I had to be mindful of, did I take my pill? Did I not take my pill? So I shared that just to say, make sure that you are advocating for yourself. If you are taking any kind of medication, don't stop it abruptly. Please don't take this from that message. That's not it at all. Make sure that you are advocating for yourself by talking to your doctor and letting them know your concerns, and just research anything that you want to try, even in OMAD. Research, read, get more information so you'll have full clarity. When you do talk to your doctor, you'll have confidence in what you're talking about, and they'll be more apt to listen to you. When there was plans to do something with my family or with my friends, I would just adjust my eating window to the special occasions or to the events. OMAD actually simplified my social life. I didn't make a big deal about going out to eat with my friends. If I wanted to go out and eat, I would go out. I didn't make it a big problem for me to have certain things. I usually eat and cook my own food anyway most of the time. So 90% of the time I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So when I go out with friends or with my family, I enjoy it. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the beauty of intermittent fasting. You can adjust it to your life and you can adjust it to where you see fit in certain areas of your life. As long as you're consistent with what your goals are and what you've been doing that's working for you, and occasionally if you have something outside the box, there's nothing wrong with that. Eating one meal a day has changed my life in ways that I never imagined. From losing weight to gaining energy to improving my mental focus and clarity, OMAD has been a game changer. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave me a comment. I would love to hear from you and I will respond. If you have done OMAD or intermittent fasting, I would love to hear from you too. What was your experience like? If you are interested in trying intermittent fasting, the OMAD method, make sure you check out my next video where I talk about all the tips and tricks that I've done and that I do to help me on this journey. You don't want to miss it. Thanks so much for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next video.